Welcome back to section 2 of the string story. I hope you enjoyed writing your first regular expressions. We're assembling a crew. The captain of our mighty ship has set voyage to study the elusive sea monster. We need to validate that each potential crew member has given us the correct information before letting them proceed. We're going to use regular expressions to help us validate this data. Our first shipmate has signed up, Smitty. We're going to use a regular expression literal like we had before to match every character in the subject Smitty, and we get a positive match. And our next potential shipmate has signed up, James. Using the OR operator and then James, we can match either Smitty or James, and we get a match on both. Now, not all potential shipmates are going to give us their name. Some are just going to say R. However, some of the shipmates have spelled this in several different ways. Some have spelled it with one R, some with 10, and some with more. So we're going to need to find a way to account for all the different possible combinations of R that we may encounter. So we're going to start with R literal here. We'll just match the letters A and R. However, when we start adding more R's to our subject, we're going to start getting partial matches, and this is undesirable. We want to match the entire R. So what can we do? One possible solution is to use the OR operator like we've been doing, and then add every combination of R that we might encounter. But our pattern is going to get extremely long doing this, and it's inefficient. So we need a better solution. As it turns out, we can use this special plus character, which is a plus operator, and it will repeat the R one or more times until it is no longer matched. This allows us to match on AR, ARR, and every combination that we could possibly see. This now allows us to match on all versions of R effectively. Adding an OR operator and then our different versions of R, we're going to match on Smitty, James, or R. And our expression is looking pretty good. Our third potential shipmate has signed up, Jameson. However, we're not matching on the ON portion of Jameson. We're only matching on James. Well, this is what is known as a partial match, and it isn't always undesirable, but in this case, we want to match the full name. One possible solution would be to add an OR operator, and then Jameson. But the line at our booth's getting pretty long at this point, and let's face it, we're not going to be able to account for every single name that we could see. So we need a better solution. Let's reanalyze our subject strings. What's one thing that all of these names have in common? They all contain letters from the alphabet. Using the OR operator, we could match every character within the alphabet, A, or B, or C, or D, but this is going to become a very long pattern, and it's almost worse than our previous example. One solution would be to use a character set, and a character set is represented by these square brackets, and represents one character in our subject. And then within, we're going to use a range, and here we're using a range from A to Z. So we will match one character in our subject string from A to Z. Now there's two important notes about this. A range only works within a character set, and a character set only represents one character in our subject. Back to our original example. We can use our character set with the range within to match the first character of Smitty, and we get the S. So how about matching the rest of the characters of Smitty? One thing we could do would be to repeat the character set 5 more times to match all 6 characters of Smitty. With our character set repeated 6 times, we do get a match on Smitty. However, we're no longer going to get a match on James, and this is because James only has 5 characters, and we're expecting 6 with a range from A to Z. So this isn't going to work. Well, using the plus operator, as we've done before, directly after our character set, we can repeat the character set 1 or more times until it is no longer matched. This allows us to match on Smitty, James, and Jameson, as well as every version of R that we could encounter. Our next potential shipmate has signed up, Blackbeard. However, we're getting a partial match here. We haven't matched on the capital B of Blackbeard. And this is because our range only has a lowercase a through z. Well, one possible solution would be to add another range to our character set. With a capital A through Z range added to our character set, we're going to match on Blackbeard fully. However, there's actually another way that we can write this. By adding an I to the right, outside of our final slash, we'll add what is known as a modifier. Now the I modifier means case insensitive and will match the entire pattern both uppercase and lowercase. Now one thing to keep in note is that modifiers are language specific, so you'll want to check your docs before jumping into modifiers. Our next potential shipmate has signed up, Captain Hook. However, it looks like we're getting a partial match here as well. We're leaving off the hook portion of Captain Hook. It looks like we're not matching on the white space. So let's go ahead and take care of this next. We can match on white space by using a white space literal, which is just a space within our pattern. However, we're going to go ahead and use the \s meta character, which will equal a space, tab, new line, and more. Now it's typically best to be more explicit, so we're going to go ahead and use the \s to represent white space in our pattern. Back to our example, we can use the \s within our character set to match on white space. And we now match on Captain Hook. Now one thing to note, the order of the characters within the character set are irrelevant. You can do \s, range A through Z, or range A through Z \s. They're exactly the same thing. Our final potential shipmate has signed up, Long John III. However, it looks like we're getting a partial match here as well. We're not matching on the number portion of his name. Well, we're not accounting for numbers right now because we have a lowercase a through z range and our \s. So let's go ahead and add another range. By adding a 0 through 9 range to our character set, we're going to match on numbers. And we now match on Long John III. However, there's another way we can write this. We can refactor our character set to use the word meta character, which is written as \w. This literally equals a character set with a lowercase range a through z, an uppercase range a through z, and a range 0 through 9. By adding in our \s to the character set with our \w, we're going to get our desired pattern. Now using our new pattern, we can drop the I modifier because capital letters are taken care of for us. And we're now matching on all names. Great job. Now, let's go ahead and try some more regular expressions in the challenges.